As many of you guys know, I was vegan for about 5 years, and then I was raw vegan for the last couple months of my whole vegan journey. If you aren't aware of my journey, you might want to watch this video over here, where I kind of explain my whole process of getting out of veganism, my thoughts, my reasoning, and kind of what happened after. I eventually started eating all foods, left the vegan label, got my period back, healed from all my eating disorders, and I moved on with my life. But it really saddens me when I hear about anyone getting really burned from the vegan diet, which is why I do a lot of advocacy for leaving the vegan diet if it's not working for you, and for understanding the pitfalls of the vegan diet and how it may not be as supportive as people are touting online. So when I see people really have a decrease of health by this way of eating, it really does impact me, because I just understand it so well. I lived it for so many years, and I understand the mental kind of obsession that you can get with that way of eating, and then the just decline in health that continues to go down and down and down and down. You guys, when you're in my comments sharing your stories about like, oh my gosh, I lost my hair, I like my liver, was super inflamed, and I had insane digestive issues, and I was infertile, and all of that. Like, you guys share these things pretty openly, and it really, again, it just saddens me to hear that you had to go through that. But it also brings me a lot of like joy to hear that my work, the things that I've talked about, whether it be my own journey or just my opinions about this matter, have really helped you switch things around. And a lot of you guys have started eating meat again and have experienced subsequently an increase in your health. And that I just love. That is why I'm here. That is why I do what I do. I try to impact as many people as I can, because this is a very serious matter. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because I read an article in the New York Post about a girl named Zhanna D'Art, who is 39 years old. She was a raw vegan activist who had millions of followers online on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and she unfortunately passed away on July 21st. It's an extraordinarily sad story, and it feels just very like, whew, I don't know how to put it. It's just as weird to me knowing that like I could have had this same destiny, because I was pretty much in the same spot as her. And by some miracle, I am still here and I was able to get myself out of it. But I do know that if I continued much longer eating the way I was eating a vegan diet, especially once I went on that raw vegan diet, like I know that my health would have eventually just deteriorated so much that I wouldn't have been able to survive. So again, I share this because I want people to understand the severity of it, because the things I see online literally irk me so much. You see all these vegan activists and YouTubers just being like, where do I get my protein? And they're like sitting in front of like a bunch of like cherries, and they're like, I get my protein from food. And I'm just like, the misinformation out there is really startling, and it's unfortunately hurting a lot of people's health. Because I'm sorry, but you could eat 20 pounds of cherries and you are still not going to be getting the adequate amount of protein that you need for your body to survive and to thrive. And so I'm just kind of over people in the vegan world acting as if this is no big deal. You guys are freaking out. Like, this is totally fine. And I'm like, it's like, can you at least just admit that there are some pitfalls and that you can run into some serious nutrient deficiencies by eating that way? Like, admit that so that people can be a lot smarter about going about their vegan diet, right? But unfortunately, the narrative just continues to get spun of this is the perfect way to eat, and you can get enough protein and you can get enough. I have so many vegans who have come into my messages or in my comment section on Instagram saying, you can get enough B12 via spirulina. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You cannot get enough B12 from spirulina. That is absolutely ridiculous to think that. B12 comes from animal products, no other place. So if you are going to be vegan, please be on a very, very, very good supplement of B12, or be getting B12 IVs, because you cannot get it just from eating a bunch of mangoes. So we are going to dive into this story, and then we're going to dive into what one other vegan YouTuber has said about this story, because I thought that was kind of fascinating too. So let's dive in. Okay. let's read, I gotta get back to this, to the New York Post. So the article starts out with one of Zhanna's friends saying that, quote, a few months ago in Sri Lanka, she already looked exhausted with swollen legs oozing lymph. They sent her home to seek treatment. However, she ran away. And when I saw her in Phuket, I was horrified. So before we begin here, I do have to say a couple things. Number one, I cannot diagnose anyone with an eating disorder. It is not in my jurisdiction. I do not have the capabilities of doing that. But what I can do is I can infer, I can guess that Zhanna had an eating disorder, okay? Because I know a lot of people are going to be coming at me in the comment sections of, this wasn't veganism's fault, this was her eating disorder. And yes, I actually completely agree with that, okay? So we are 1000% in agreement. This was her eating disorder. And how many people use something like the vegan diet or a raw vegan diet to hide their eating disorder, to further themselves into this orthorexic mindset, this obsession with clean eating? Tons, a lot. It would be really hard to be such a staunch advocate of something like the raw vegan diet and not be orthorexic. Not saying it's not possible, okay? I'm just saying it would be really hard to, with just how much the diet really prides itself on being clean and pure and wholesome. If you have ever dealt with orthorexia, you will fully understand and see how, yes, this is going to be very hard to be following this and not fall into orthorexia. And it's really hard when you're eating such a nutrient deficient diet to not fall into energy debt. Like, realistically, how many mangoes can you eat in a day to not be in energy debt? You're gonna have to be eating a ton of food, which is gonna have a negative impact on your digestive system, first and foremost. And also, still, no matter how much volume you get, you're still just lacking a lot of critical nutrients. So I do wanna say that that's why it's like, okay, you start to go the raw vegan route, it's hard not to dip into an ED because that energy debt's gonna come in pretty strong. And energy debt is one of the biggest precursors of someone getting to an unhealthy relationship with food and body. So this is why some people who have like a trauma to something, like let's say their, mom died in a car accident, God forbid, right? They go through this very traumatic kind of experience. They stop eating because it's like, I'm in so much grief and shock and everything. And then subsequently an eating disorder follows. Again, that's because they dipped their body into an energy debt in that month or 2 months of them just really not eating due to all of the grief. That's a very kind of common thing to see. Let's continue with this article here. Her friend added, I lived one floor above her, and every day I feared finding her lifeless body in the morning. I convinced her to seek treatment, but she didn't make it. And this is what, in all reality, is just really sad, is that when we get in these mind states, we really don't understand how severe it is. And so we easily say no to treatment, or we run away, or, gosh, I can't even tell you the things I did. Like, I was so against getting help and support for my journey. And I think that's my biggest regret, honestly, is that I just didn't allow someone to help me. And I didn't admit to myself that something was truly actually wrong. Let's see. A proponent of uncooked herbivorous fare, the Kazanian native claimed she ate a completely raw vegan diet for the last 4 years, consuming just fruits, sunflower seed sprouts, not even sunflower seed sprouts, like the greens of this, fruit smoothies and juices. I hate that I even have to say it, but I know that there are people out there who truly are like, what? That's totally fine. That's healthy. That's normal. And it's like, no, that is really lacking critical nutrients that you need for your body. All right, so this is what's really interesting. This article goes into a quote from Zhanna saying, quote, I see my body and mind transform every day. So most of had gushed while describing her restrictive eating regimen. I love my new meat and never move on to the habits that I used to use. This is, again, what's hard is because when you get into a restrictive state, you can have very high cortisol, which can make you feel oddly good about restricting. And you get kind of this buzz. Like, I remember, I feel amazing, I feel great. And I look at it, I'm like, I didn't have a period. My just inference here is that she did not have a period. It would be very hard to have a period at that low of a body fat percentage and without eating appropriately. I didn't have a period. My hair was like falling out. I was just like, I had yellowing skin. I just was always in digestive discomfort. Like I was in a lot of pain, yet I was so numbed out. Like so numbed out that I had no idea. And I think in this statement here, like I see my body and mind transform every day. It's like I remember getting in this like euphoric high of like, I feel amazing, I feel great. And I was just so disconnected from reality. And again, that's the danger of these things, is you get very disconnected from reality. The food influencer said her raw foods regimen was reportedly inspired by seeing peers who looked a lot older than their ages, which she attributed to their junk food diets. This is what's so interesting, is that we have all these people who see, you know, the problem, honestly, that we have in the world with, there are, you know, a lot of people dealing with a lot of ill health due to many things, right? Imbalanced diets, lack of nutritive food, pharmaceuticals, and, you know, just lack of nature, lack of so many things, lack of healthy just movement in their life. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of illness, but it doesn't mean that we need to go all of a sudden to the other extreme, right? That's not necessarily going to heal it. But I know for me, that's what I thought too, because it's so funny. I had the same thought. I was like, oh, everyone's obese, everyone's blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I am never going to do that. And so I went to the extreme of, let me become severely underweight. Let me only eat broccoli and avocado. And like, that's it. And like, it totally bypassed the like, okay, let's just understand the importance of eating nutritive foods and eating good quality foods when we can, and having, you know, a well-balanced, just healthy lifestyle. No, we always have to go to the extremes, and it's just constantly bouncing from one to the other. She used her social media to spread her raw diet doctrine, describing, quote, I eat simple food. Although I have a lot of experience as a raw food chef, I love creating my own recipes, inspiring people to eat healthier. That's what it's, again, this is so hard, because it's like, I get it. She probably had really good intentions. I want people to eat better, to eat healthier. But I think we automatically just label a diet like this as healthy without actually really thinking, is it healthy? Is it supportive? It's just, we were told this narrative of vegetables are good, fruits are good. And so then we just think, okay, well then eating all fruits and vegetables has to be good. No, that's not the case, right? Just like, you know, if exercise is good, a lot of people think, well then exercise, you know, 5 times a day is good. I'm like, no, actually, you run yourself into burnout and you destroy your metabolism when you do that. You can get into what's called relative energy deficiency in sport, which is quite dangerous, and it causes a shutdown of your whole metabolism. So yes, exercise is great. Too much exercise when you're overly stressed, exercise when you're malnourished is not. So just because fruits and vegetables are good doesn't mean that only eating fruits and vegetables is good and is right. Unfortunately, her friends believe her so-called healthy food choices were to blame for her death. Quote, you don't need to be a doctor to understand where this will lead, said one pal from her all-durian and jackfruit diet. And it shows a couple pictures here of her eating her jackfruit. Zhanna's idle stagnation was causing her to melt before our eyes, but she believed everything was fine, theorized another. Only her eyes, merry eyes, and gorgeous hair compensated for the dreadful sight of a body tortured in idiocy. Forgive me if it sounds harsh. It's really sad when you're in it, you can't see it. Again, this is why I make these videos, because when you are in it, you might not necessarily see it. That's why I share my transformation pictures, because sometimes when you see someone else, it's like, whoa, okay, I can see that, right? I see the difference. I see the life kind of come back into her body. Despite the potential downsides of Zhanna's diet, many of her devoted followers refused to believe her eating choices led to her death, instead claiming that she was killed by chemicals in the fruit she ate. That is such a raw vegan diet response. Like, it's not the fruit, it's the chemicals in the fruit. It's like, no, or it actually is that this diet is not supportive for you. What's really crazy is I was literally reading a lot of the comments on her Instagram, and so many people were like, that's a shame, but like, you know, that's not going to happen to me, and I'm going to continue eating this way. And I'm like, really? this doesn't raise like a red flag. And again, I know she also, again, most likely had an ED involved in this, but like, it's also really representative of just how unsupportive this diet is and how extreme it can get. That someone's body can literally completely stop working because of eating that way. And yet they blame the chemicals. So now I want to bring up this thing that I saw on the Fruitarian Girl on Instagram. She wrote a little post about this, and I have no idea who she is, right? She just like plopped up on my newsfeed when I was researching this. And she said, in Malaysia, 40-year-old Russian vegan blogger Zhanna D'Art died from exhaustion. For the past 4 years, she'd been eating only fruits, sunflower sprouts, and juices. Prior to that, she followed a completely raw vegan diet for 5 years. Quote, a few months ago, she already looked exhausted, swollen legs from which lymph was leaking. They sent her home to receive treatment, but she escaped again. So the girl, shares about what happened to Zhanna, and then she says, I regret promoting fully raw fruitarian and fully raw vegan diets as they are not optimal for long-term health. Fortunately, I didn't adhere to it for an extended period of time because I came to realize that this completely raw diet is not optimal for long-term health. I followed, this is what I thought was so fascinating here, and you have to just see how fascinating this is. I follow a high raw vegan diet, which is much better because you can get all the nutrients and enough calories without eating big amounts of fruits and salads. It's really sad. I don't recommend doing a fully raw vegan diet. This is unsupportive for you. Look, this poor girl, she just passed away from exhaustion, from starvation, right? That's why I only do just a high raw vegan diet, meaning like 90% of the food I eat is raw foods and 10% I do cooked quinoa. Like, do they not see that's like, that's not going to be supportive enough? Like, that's still severely unhealthy. She goes on to say, however, false beliefs can make it difficult for some people to stop following these diets. It's important to note that claims made by 100% raw vegans about feeling good might be influenced by underlying mental health issues. Exactly. It's best to be cautious and not blindly follow their example or believe their claims. I agree. These diets can lead to nutrient deficiencies and premature aging. Remember, cooked food is not toxic. Those who claim otherwise are spreading toxicity themselves. So the thing that's interesting is that you go on her page, her name is literally Fruitarian Girl, okay? And you go on her page and all of it is just about her eating a very, very high fruit raw vegan diet. And here she is being like, oh, no. I'm not going to end up like this because, and this is no joke, she's literally saying, because I add in a scoop of protein powder, vegan protein powder. I'm just like, again, so many people not wanting to see the truth of it all, not wanting to open their mind and think, maybe there's something here that I need to look into. Maybe I need to understand that this is not supportive. But I think it's just so funny that someone would think that just a scoop of protein powder is going to be the thing that saves them from this very, very malnutritive diet. The only thing that's going to help is starting to eat more food, including animal products, so that you can get the wide variety of nutrients and vitamins and minerals that you need to actually thrive. So it's a very sad story. Like I said, I hate seeing this type of stuff happen. It really does get to me. It's really extraordinarily sad, especially when simply just changing your diet could be the thing that helps you regain your health and prevent disaster situations like this. It's so important to understand that your body does not run off of thin air, and we cannot be doing these extreme diets if we actually truly care for our health. And I know you may not see it because you have these kind of narratives in your mind about food and this has to be right. But if you don't have your period, if you are severely underweight, if you feel anxious eating anything outside of your diet plan, if you have digestive issues, if you are not sleeping well, if you are, not feeling strong and healthy, you don't have muscle tone, right? You gotta really start looking at other options. Is the way you're eating truly actually supportive for you? Or would you be good switching your diet up a little bit? I know I was super grateful. I switched my diet up. Again, you can listen to that full story over here. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I wish you guys the best.